Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Awaken to Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for taking time out of your precious schedule to be here with us. And as you know, my mission is to support you in being the best version of you, living your greatest life. And these shows are part of that. And so today, I'm so glad that my good friend Kimberly Crowe is back with us today. And we're going to be, we always have so much fun, we're going to be talking about awakening your compassion codes to be your sovereign self. So what all that means and more. Kimberly's going to be doing some mini healing sessions on the call with live callers, a group healing activation with the greater aspect to access your sovereign beings. We're activating your codes of compassion. And Kimberly's going to be sharing some insights as she creates this supported container to unfold and nurture your compassionate codes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what compassionate codes are, and we're going to talk about having a clear connection of your compassionate one is really about empowerment during these times. And when you align your compassion, your sovereign being flows in a whole new way of being evolves. And the connection allows you to give meaning and context to the things that happen in your life. So we're going to talk about really practical things in our lives that's happening right now. You'll find the truth of your sovereign one in achieving more clarity by connecting and awakening your compassion codes. So for those of you who don't know Kimberly, she's been on our show for years. Yay. I don't even know how long anymore, but for years. And we always have such a wonderful time, always a high vibe, always different processes come through. And Kimberly is an everyday mystic and is known as the healer's healer. She's the sacred witness to the inner awakened mastery I am retonements. And she's an internationally known visionary teacher, artist, and transformational healer with 30 years experience. And she can help you achieve your heart's desire by tuning into, clearing, and harmonizing your unique energy system. So, we have a lot on board today. And so if you do have a question that you'd like to ask Kimberly, you can raise your hand or you can type in the chat. I'm not sure when exactly we're going to be doing the questions per se, but Kimberly, let's start talking about these compassion codes and what that means and how we can awaken them to be our sovereign self, because really, ideally, we create our lives through being our sovereign selves, right? More and more.
Yes, that's what we're here to do, is to be that. And I think sometimes there's like a misunderstanding with that. Can you hear noise? Is there noise coming in on my thing? All of a sudden, my neighbors started some kind of really loud motor thing. And it sounds like a motorcycle or something. Anyway, I'm sorry if you can hear that. I can't do anything about that one now. We'll have to put a shield around it. My membership group, well, actually, I had the experience myself, and then I shared it in the group. And one morning, all of a sudden, this energy came in. And I got, this is your compassionate one, and this is the one, like what we're doing. It's what the ascension process is all about, us connecting to the compassionate one and moving into that energy, which really sets at the high heart, because our heart, sometimes like in these meditations and all of this work that we do, and people guide you and tell you to go to your heart, and then you feel like, you can't go there. You don't feel it. It's painful. What's wrong with me? I don't even know how to get there. And that is because we have created our own heart walls from trauma, from experience of emotional pain in the lifetime. And we keep those up to protect ourselves, where we can't even get into our own heart sometimes, when we're trying to go into it. It's like I'm hearing, while I'm talking about this, there's almost like a not worthiness to get there, that we've protected it so. Well, that compassionate one sets in the high heart, which is what the ascension is. It's the embodiment of the compassionate one, the Christ consciousness, is when we elevate to the point that consciousness is coming in and out of the high heart, which is in between your throat and your heart chakra. Right here is it. And they showed me before that energy it's pure, it's crystalline, pure energy. It has no emotional wound into it whatsoever. So it doesn't have the filters and do the action from that wounded persona or through those wounded filters, you know, that's the difference in between the two of them. Does that make sense? And so that's what we're going to do today in the group thing, is connecting to it, because the more you connect to the compassionate one, then the more, you know, you can embody that and walk that energy. And when you're in that energy, because sometimes with all the kind of DNA activations and blah, blah, blah activations, then we still, like, we're so expanded, and then we get hit by the outside world, and then, you know, there's still all of this energy going on. There's still disruption within your field. And when you're coming from, when we evolve into the space that we all come from, this high heart energy from the compassionate one, then you don't do it through guilt. You know, right before we went live, I was sharing an experience with Laura. 15 minutes before we started to go, my daughter calls me and tells me my 2.5-year-old granddaughter is sick with strep throat, and can I go get her from daycare and watch her the rest of the day? And I was like, no, I can't. I'm getting ready to go on a telesummit that's international. I can't do that right now. There was an eyewitness. I literally, just like right before, 15 minutes before we went on, I witnessed that wounded aspect of me almost panic, ready to hit the message button and message you and say, I can't do this. You're going to have to pull this off yourself. I can't do this today. And then I was trying to figure out how I could bring a 2.5-year-old on here while I was, you know, holding this space too. And that was that wounded heart one. You know, that's who that was. I sat and witnessed her spinning the plates, and she's going to make it okay for everybody all at the same time, leaving me out. And so that energy is like, when we talk about where we're at with energies, celestial energies too, and that energy is really here for us right now, and showing us that, and where we have sacrificed ourselves, and that martyr energy. When we pull off the martyr energy from that wounded heart, we're doing it for our own significance and what we get from everybody else. You know, like we're looking for that, what do you want? Credibility, all of that from something external. You know, like that would have made me the best grandmother in the whole world, and the, you know, best mother to my mother if I just drop everything right then. Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's not, you know, being a compassionate one too, but this lifetime and this moment, that wasn't my work. You know, I had already said to the universe I would be here in this container. So I had to witness that just right before we went on, and it was like so interesting. And I don't know if I hadn't activated this energy and this codes to this, because then I could stand in my own power without the guilt. You know, I still, now it didn't mean that it didn't come in for a second. It did, but it went really fast. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it would have went that fast, you know, even like 3 weeks ago. I'm not sure I wouldn't have hit the message button and told you I can't be on. And it's like, so it's that kind of empowerment. That's what the sovereign one can, what I'm hearing is it gives you clarity of mind that you can, you know, see the path of light and the direction to go when you stand in that place of the truth of your sovereign power, and not the power that you're giving away to external for your own significance in the world.
Got it. And I think we do that a lot, unfortunately. You know?
Oh my God, we do. And it's like, you know, I mean, I have like done healings and work on that martyr over and over and over. And it's like, and that I think the martyr energy is the one, it holds the wounded healer, you know, it's in calling yourself out on, you know, am I doing this because it's my life purpose, or am I doing it to get significant from everybody else in the world? Now, sometimes that significance can heal you, for a moment, but then you have to keep doing it, you know, until your energy rises to that level to be able to hold the frequency without that you have to get it from something outside of yourself.
Right. And that's the thing, I think, where a lot of people, when they are choosing to do something, they're doing it from that space. So like, if I do this, I'm going to be loved, I'm going to be appreciated, I'm going to get this validation and this confirmation, instead of, I'm doing this because it brings me joy. This is who I am. That's why I'm doing this.
And it's just a compassionate way to be. I
Yeah.
also saw within all of that, because of those woundings and the belief, you know, we were probably really doing it because it was the right thing, but it was also probably from some place of guilt that we believed this was the right thing, so this is what I should do, you know, which is still that programming.
Yeah.
And so with that, what has happened is there's a distorted energy that's wrapped up within the compassionate code. I mean, within the compassion. So if you embody your true compassionate codes, then that distortion's not there. There's a distortion. If I am compassionate, then they'll just use me and screw over me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's like, I'll do this stuff because it's the right thing to do, and I'll be the good girl, and it's the right thing that you just do for people and humanity, and then wham, betrayal again.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, it's a combination, or, you know, it's different possibilities, right? Some of it could be guilt. Some of it could be the unworthiness. So I'm doing all this stuff because I feel unworthy. And so now I'll finally be loved. And now I'll finally feel like I'm good enough because I feel unworthy, blah, 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 right? All of these wounds that we have either picked up in this lifetime or carried over from previous lifetimes, right?
And it's all in humanity's consciousness. I mean,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's layers and layers of it that we're all working on.
And that's the thing, that these are the things that we're constantly clearing and working on, yet they're still showing up. I just had a session with somebody, and that showed up. One of those things showed up. It's like, oh my God, I've been working on this forever, and it still showed up. It's like, oh, okay. You know, so like, all right, let's just clear it again, clear some more of it, right? Because it's layers, and I get that. It's layers, and it's more and more of what we're willing to accept at that time. But it, you know, can we clear more of this today? Would be awesome.
Well, you know, the thing that I witnessed, it's like they show it to us like it's like a dump truck. I've probably talked about this before on your show. It's like it looks like those like humanity's consciousness. You know, those I don't know what those vehicles are called, but they clean the parking lots. You know, they have these round things on them.
Yeah,
and
the street sweeper.
Yeah, the street sweepers.
Yeah, we have them on our street.
Yeah, it's like the truck goes through consciousness and it's doing that.
Yeah.
And then that goes over and it goes to dump truck. Okay. And so the dump truck is like the emotional trauma dump. And that is recycled back into humanity's consciousness. It like they go, okay, it's time to dump it back in again because there's still trash here and they haven't cleared all of this up. So that's why sometimes when we've done the work and then we get hit again, because we have it this lifetime, the belief systems in this lifetime of the experiences here, we got it from our DNA, which is eons of time, our family unit, this lifehood family unit, and all of the strands of everything that they carried in their consciousness, and then what we brought in on a soul level. Because we said we would be the one that would embody the lifetime, the DNA, and the family to do this. So that's the game we're in. And so as you clear those out, it's less every time.
Right.
Because when that dump truck dumps all of that back in, if you don't have the vibration, it's not going to stick to you anymore. Yeah. You know, it'll eventually, like it won't even be dumped on you. And so that's why you may witness and then go, oh, that's it again, but you know that it's not the same level.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, couldn't you or you move through it a whole lot faster.
For sure.
That's when you move into your own sacred witness, and the compassionate one is the sacred witness for yourself. like I just had that experience. So
Yes,
watched
exactly.
myself, and it was like, but it was like I watched myself and I went through it, and I did feel the guilt. I thought, oh my God, this poor little baby's sick, and I'm not even going to take care of her. And then I felt it in my throat. I was telling Laura, if I'm picking up a cough drop and spitting it in and out, I started empathing her little throat immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. And then so I picked up a crystal and I was just sitting here clearing it while I was waiting to come on. I was like, okay. And so I started clearing the energy. So you can do that. Sometimes as empaths, which we are, it's like we may recognize that. And that's when you can check in even with your compassionate one and see, is this mine or someone else's? And then, clear it off. And if you're taking, because I was going to take her throat on out of guilt.
And
love and compassion for my granddaughter too, but there was a part of that because I couldn't be there. So it's like, oh, what'd I do? Suck it in. And then look at that. That could have really, if you really want to look at that in that deeper level, see, that could have been a real sabotaging thing because I could have lost my throat right before we come on and then not even been able to do this. And it would have got me out of it. So then I would have ran off to go be with her. Aren't we clever? We are so clever to do all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It happens so quickly we don't even realize. But I've gotten to the point where if somebody even starts to tell me something, like, nope, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And then if it's my daughter, it's like, okay, fine, tell me. But as soon as she starts to tell me, I create barriers around myself because I will take it, right? I will take it and I will feel it. And I was like, so I have to, as soon as I notice it, it's like, either I tell them, no, don't say it, don't tell me, or I start to protect myself so that I don't take it on. Because it's fast. So
what they showed me with that compassionate one, when we start connecting to it, we can utilize it to ask, like, it's kind of like our higher self, but not. It's a higher evolved level, of more like your God consciousness self. I don't know that's what just came in then. So you can literally, and when right now, when I'm connected to mine, now this could change tomorrow, I feel it more like it's setting here on my chest. And then it's like this glowy kind of light that's right here. Instead of it being like over me or in me, it just feels like it, as soon as I check into it, it's right there. And then I go into this bliss. You know how when you're in a healing or a meditation and you're like, ooh, and you just want to stay there. That's what it feels like. And then I can, actually ask it questions, about things like that. And they also told me you can take that energy and use it through your own system for, healing. I saw it the first time in a very light pink color. I don't know. It could change. It doesn't mean it's always that color. But then you can ask it to move that energy through. So if you're really in that and in your sovereign state, then you could send that to other people. And then it wouldn't, I'm going to do that right now with my granddaughter because there was one part of me was doing that, but I felt the part that took the throat stuff on too. So it's like I'm seeing it like sending love balls, it's like kind of love bubbles, like you're blowing bubbles. And so you just send those compassionate bubbles to them because that energy surrounds you like a cocoon when it's around you. So if we, it's like blowing kisses. It's like if we send them love bubbles of that compassionate energy, then we won't take it on ourselves as an impact. Oh, that's really cool. That's great.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So that's a great tool to have. And that when we check in on ourselves and realize we're doing this, then to send that. And think about that, Laura, when we're doing sessions on people, we're in our compassionate one, and it's like that is what we're doing. I can tell the difference when my own consciousness comes in and I think, are you kidding? You're crazy, lady. But then I go, oh, that's me. And then I move into the place in my heart and then move into that place of the compassionate one. And then I'm not in judgment at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like you have to stay out of your head when you are doing that work, right? Because you know, when you're embodying the compassionate one, for example, there is no mental concept. It's just, you know, pure compassion, pure love, pure energy from source.
Right. And when you think about it, that's what all the great teachers were telling us. I mean, that's the common thread that has been, you know, brought in over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so first and foremost, it's for, you know, to embody that compassion for ourselves. You know, I mean, you know, yes, compassion for everybody else, but for ourselves as well. And the more that we have compassion for, I mean, I've been working with compassion for a while now too. So it's like, I totally get it. You know, it's like, it's a new energy or nuance to my healing system as well lately. You know, it's been the compassion thing, but it's about when you have compassion for yourself, your whole life takes on a different color, you know, like a different resonance.
It does.
You know, and there is a little bit more ease in your life because, you know, you realize it's not, you know, it doesn't have to be as hard as you've been making it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a clearer or better understanding of who you are in relationship to spirit, source, life, and yourself, and everybody else as well.
Right. It's like a grace and gratitude type of flavor to it that you embody for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the gratitude, I had an experience yesterday that I realized, it was like, oh wow, you know, it's like doing gratitude prayers. Honestly, when you're in your compassionate one, the first person to give gratitude to is to yourself.
Yeah.
And I was doing a call, I was holding space, and I did this gratitude to the one of me that has walked for trials and tribulations so I could be who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
The computer literally lit up. It was like, as I was saying it, it just started glowing, and there was this, like, it was wild because it was like everybody saw it at the same time. It was wild. And it was like, I felt so emotional because I thought, have I truly ever really received gratitude from me?
Mm-hmm.
I felt it at my core go in. And that's what this energy is. It's like, it's a grace energy and a gratitude energy that goes into your heart. I'm feeling it in my throat too. So then it can come up, and then it's like,
Expressed.
It's out. It's expressed.
Mm-hmm.
You carry a vibration within your being as you walk.
Yeah.
And I think that's the clue. That's how you walk amongst them. You know, is that when you walk in that, then you're not doing and taking on everybody else's stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you're just being. And what are you being? You're being gratitude, you're being compassion, you're being light, you're being love, you're just being. And in that state, you know, honestly, all that other stuff just doesn't even show up.
Mm-mm.
You know, all the stuff in your head. You know, I had a lot of stuff going on in my head this week, which I, you know, let go on another call earlier. And so, all that stuff is now gone, you know, but it's like, it's amazing how much we carry around with us, right? And that, all that stuff is vibrating, you know, that's what we're vibrating out, you know. It's like, oh crap. Instead of, you know, compassion, gratitude, bliss, and joy, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know Randy has a question, but Randy, I don't understand the question, to be honest. I don't know if you can see it, Kimberly, in the chat.
Let me open up chat. I don't know if I can see it or not. I don't have peepers on today.
So if you have a question about either compassion codes, the compassionate one, or anything else that's going on for you, just raise your hand or type in the chat. Okay.
I think that where we were talking about, I'm not sure what that means either. He can clarify it. because I feel like it's like that we have to have the others to know who we are, but I might be misinterpreting that.
That's true too. Yeah, that's true too.
That may not be what that means at all, but that's what I thought it meant when I read it. I'm like, what that means. So I'm not sure what the question is.
Compassion is a verb. Compassion is definitely a verb. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a whole essence of being too. It's like the whole, it's all of that. It's not just doing, because doing is the verb, and it's like this being it is, I don't know what you would call that, but it's a pronoun.
Yeah, but being, yeah, I know. To be is a verb, but I get it.
Right.
But I think what Randy's saying is compassion is an active, dynamic energy.
Right.
That's what I'm going with. So Carrie has a question. How do I step closer to my compassionate one?
We're going to do an activation and do that.
Yeah, so we're going to do an activation.
First, and we're going to clear out these distortions that's in it, because it's just like with love. There's so many forms of love. Love is controlling. Love is all kinds of manipulation things. And so sometimes we don't want to embody it because we were controlled by love. So the same thing in humanity's consciousness, there's some wounded around compassion. So sometimes that's what, on this journey of doing our work, we're clearing out all of those things. So if we clear out that distorted slate and how those words got twisted, and then the emotional traumas that got wrapped around them, then you can feel what it's like to embody the pure essence of it. Because it may be knocking on your door all the time, but there was that wounded piece that if I'm compassionate to them, then they're just going to use me all up again. Or that happens over and over and over. And so that's the distortion that happens within the belief systems. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
So we're going to do a clearing. I'll look at the group itself and see what the common mind matrix is within the group. And then we'll clear those. So whatever's in there, we'll clear those today, and then we'll do an activation of it. So and the other thing is, ask to connect to it and start connecting to it and what its energy is. You can do this without me. It happened to me. It's like it just happened. So I think I was getting ready to do a call, and I asked, what was I bringing to them today? It was within the group, my membership group, and that's what came in. And so it's time, and like you said, it's been in your work lately too. So it's obviously a flavor of vibration that is knocking on our noggins to say, hey, I'm here, it's time to step into this.
Yeah.
So surrender and ask to step into it.
So Jennifer has a question. My inner child showed up this morning. She had a black cloud above her. I asked what it was. She said she had it with her as long as she could remember. I sent the cloud love and light and expanded it out. What else can I do?
Okay, let me tap into Jennifer's energy. I'm feeling something in her left ear. It's like it almost was a stabbing kind of, it was a real high frequency. Okay, I don't need to feel that. It's like I got it. Okay, let me go into her energy. So I'll step into the light of the divine. I'm gonna open up everybody's records right now because I haven't done that. Well, I kind of did, because I put the group in the sphere before we started to see what was in the matrix, the group hive. Okay, so I asked to be the sacred witness, step into the light of the divine where all things are possible, and we're going to open up Jennifer's records to see if there's anything specific for her. It's she's carrying some kind of burden that's not hers to carry, and it feels like fourish or something like that, that there was some kind of event or something that happened, and at the time she didn't have the ability to be able to be responsible for that. And so there's some kind of like a self-guilt. She's still holding that she couldn't stop whatever the event was. I don't know if she knows what that was or not, but that's the energy that I'm seeing. Okay, so let's see.
It's a car accident.
Okay. Okay, there's a cord to it, so she blew that energy out, but I can I'm not pulling it back into her, but I can go into the timeline of what was in that. So I see that cloud, and that's what happens. We really look like cartoon characters with the thoughts coming out of us and the big clouds around us. So that's what that's like for her. It looks like actually to bring in the soul fragment that blew out during that trauma and for it to go back into her. And when she claims that piece back, that aspect can be the gift that it is, because it blew out because it couldn't handle all of the energy. Everybody's energy is too much for it. So it went somewhere safe. And so if that comes back in, it wants to go back into her heart. So I guess I'm assuming since she asked a question, I have permission to bring that back in for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back into her solar plexus too. There's a lot of emotion there. The emotion was too big for her to handle before. And so now her adult self can, take this back in. So my suggestion to you, your homework for yourself, to do the compassion for yourself, is to connect to the 4-year-old and take her in just like you would any 4-year-old that you saw go through a trauma, and hold her in that sacred space and surround her with the compassion. Mm-hmm. and that she was doing the best that she could at the time. And what kind of work does Jennifer do?
She's a healer now. She just started.
It's been a big path of her healing journey. It's like sometimes some of those traumas like that put us on a path, because then we don't want that to ever happen to anybody. This is going to help her open up something in her intuitive, gifts that she has, that she's been trying to connect to, because the 4-year-old had it. And so bringing that back, she'll be able to integrate that and move from the wounded healer into the one that holds the compassion.
Awesome.
Yeah. So now that wants to ground in. It's like, so that I'm feeling it go down from her solar plex into earth. So I would suggest her just doing that. Ground it in, let her know it's safe, and then talk to the 4-year-old and see what she wants to do. The children should be playing. That's what children should be doing, instead of working and taking on all of this stuff for everybody else. So
awesome.
I would work with her until she sees her playing. Okay?
Okay, Jennifer. So there's a question from Angela. Jennifer says, thank you so much. She and I feel so much lighter right now. Good. Yeah. Good. Angela says, how do we get into our sovereignty and hold it if we constantly meet people who bring our compassion down? It's a push-pull kind of thing.
Well, that's that part that believe in that we're being used, because they can't push, or if you're really standing in the truth of your compassion and what this vibration is, then that's the distorted compassion that is being what do you want to call that, connected to. Because if it was clear, then you wouldn't feel that part of it. That's still coming through a wounded filter. And so being the compassionate one doesn't mean being the martyr and that you just gut yourself all of the time and that you have no boundaries. Because being the sovereign one, you do have boundaries, but it's not, you don't have to be the warrior anymore and fight for your boundaries. It's like you're stable within the energy, and then you have the stability, and also the how to conduct, like the conductivity to be stable within the frequency. Does that make sense? You're not like being knocked all over the place all the time, because when we're still in those distortions, it's all wobbly. We start giving ourselves away for everybody else. That's that belief that I'm hearing. She's got this, so maybe the rest that we'll do this in the whole thing for everybody. And while I'm working, like when I was working on Jennifer, anything that you all have, it also goes to you too. There is a belief that I have to give my power away in order to be accepted, loved, all of that. That's why we don't stand in our sovereign self. Because if we give our power away, then we're accepted by others. That's the belief with that one.
All right, so Mina says, I have compassion for others, but not so much for myself. Would like help for that.
Yeah, it's got to come for self first.
Yeah.
Because if you're not giving it to self first, then you're just dishing out this other stuff. You know, you're dishing out. You may believe that you're doing the best and the right. Well, I mean, you are. I mean, when you just do the right things for other people, then it's compassion, but there's still it's got to come from self first, or you deplete yourself. So let me see what her belief is, that it's not okay to give to herself first. That would be one of those beliefs, that it's not okay to accept, believe, receive. You know what? I don't know where this comes in for this group, but when I put the group consciousness in a sphere and checked into it, and I asked what the common denominator was I heard security. That this group it was security. And it's like, I just heard the one word, and then it's like, I don't know how that's going to play out today. But so in a way, there's something with that, like not being secure enough in self, that we keep giving the power away to others outside of us. So it's something about receiving. There's some of that. I don't know if she had a religious background or not, but there's a lot of that. I don't know about other religions, but I know within the Christianity religion, there's a whole lot of distortions in with that, about like love your mother, father, and blah blah. You know, all these other people first. It's like you're last on the totem pole,
if you are at all.
Yeah. So there's some misconceptions. That's the parts of it that's in humanity's consciousness, which then creates a servitude energy.
Yeah, she said there is that. There's definitely that.
Yeah, it's more, and so being in service to humanity and through the compassionate one, it's not a servitude energy. That's why, like when you're standing in your sovereign being, then it's grounded, and you understand it through like a world vision, and that you're doing it for humanity, for everyone, for the soul, for all consciousness, so that we all lift up together. And there's a different flavor to that.
So when we do the activation today, you know, with activating the compassion code, bringing the compassionate one, that'll help us specifically as well. First.
I'm sorry, what did you say? It'll help what?
It'll help us to have more compassion for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting it. We've got to ground that in first. So I'll ask what those distortions are when we do it on everybody, because that's what I saw with her. So we know that that's part of it, and it wraps up into that security.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's safe. It's safe to be the compassionate one is the thing that I'm hearing.
Okay.
And then it's
safe
accepted
to be
and loved.
Yeah.
So we'll add all of that in.
Yeah. Hold on. Diane says, I feel I am blocked from speaking to my guides clearly. Okay, can I just say you're not blocked from speaking to your guides clearly. Maybe you're blocked from receiving from your guides, because we can all talk.
From doing this, from listening.
So you're not blocked from speaking, you're blocked from listening or hearing your guides clearly. I'm a stickler for say the right words, because otherwise it just doesn't work.
She could be blocked from speaking to him, but she could be afraid that people think she's crazy if she talks to her guys.
That's true too. That's true too. So yeah, I could be wrong. But anyway, go ahead. What do you say? I could be totally wrong. You could be right. I could be wrong. It's happened.
Yeah, but the point is with that is what they're telling me when I was laughing about it. That is the point, that she is the part about being crazy. It's like if she can receive, hear, communicate with her, that's the word. If she can receive communication and the communication, there's a part of her that it's like that she's afraid that people will think she's crazy, and then she doesn't really trust for sure who that is. What if she's taking direction for something that is lesser than energy? How would she know the difference? She's got some stuff in there with that. I don't know how if she's working with some kind of teacher or anybody that's helping her connect to her guides or doing her own work with that. I'm not the guide queen. It's like I have a whole different perception with all of that, because I believe that.
She said, I had someone trick me when I first opened up. Trick me when I first opened up, or teach me? I'm not sure. I don't know. This is a typo.
I mean, because
I had someone trick me when I first opened up.
Yeah, but that's a big one, because you got all kinds of planes of dimensions, and so I mean, it's not that they don't exist, because you can go into those planes of existence, and they're all out there. So there's different planes of existence that you go into, and that's you need to take a class with me.
So maybe she's blocking herself.
Teach you all about that stuff.
But maybe she's blocking herself from communicating with her guides because she was tricked before.
Yeah.
That's fear, right? It's fear.
It's fear.
Totally
she doesn't know what plane of existence she was actually in. And so when that's giving our power away still to something outside of us, because when we're begging and begging and begging for guides to connect us, and we'll just take any random energy that comes by and we don't know the difference in what that is, we can give our power away to stuff. I mean, I've seen people had friends like, oh, I have to wear red today because Poppy said that I do. And it's like that's giving your power away. And I believe that there's some aspect of us that is all of that. And so if you go to your higher self, your compassionate one, and work with that, then you don't get caught in some of those distortions. So I have my own belief system with all of that, and that's probably from other lifetimes of going through experiences like that.
Deborah,
not that I haven't been slammed across. I've done enough stuff in this lifetime. I've been slammed against walls and everything from all kinds of other dimensions. I don't play there anymore.
I don't play that game at all. Deborah says, today's meditation, I was given a golden key, told to use it wisely. It's to a gate I'm protecting. I see a lion. I don't know what's behind it. Can you make sense of this? Any meaning?
In her own personal meditation, she got a key, and then in the key, she got a what?
She was given a golden key and told to use it wisely. It's to a gate that she's protecting, and she sees a lion, and she doesn't know what's
like a line, like a straight line, or a line like a roaring lion.
A roaring lion.
Well, that sounds like a protector or something like that.
What normally
is she needs to connect to this herself instead of getting answers from us, is what I'm hearing. That it's like her journey, and for her to journal, because she's being given direct stuff and symbolisms with it, And so what my symbol, I mean, I can go into it and find out, but I'm hearing that's disempowering her.
I got the same thing. I got that she has to find that out herself, because it's going to be different for all of us. And if we give her a meaning, it's going to color it, you know?
Right. And if I go and ask what that higher consciousness is and what the information that they're giving her, it almost it's taking from her.
Yeah.
Instead of empowering her.
Sorry, Deborah. There are sometimes things that, you know.
And sometimes when we do that, I know with me, and I'm sure you've had the same thing, they will tell me it's none of your business. It's like she has to do this. And I'm feeling like it's like one of those, no, none of your business.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I got too. So it's like, no, she has to figure it out.
It's so empowering for her, because they're like, she's getting those symbols and it's like right there for her to go through.
Keep asking questions, Deborah, in your next meditation. It doesn't even have to be in the meditation, just at any time. Just keep asking, what does this mean? You know, and
exactly. That's what I did. That's how I got to the level I did, like with the energy. Anytime when I was working with people, and I always asked, and the more you ask, I will give you. It's like you asked and asked and asked, and then I would, you know, that's how more and more and more of my multi-dimensional stuff opened. All my gifts opened because I asked all the time. I don't like calling them gifts, and I'm using that word today. But anyway.
I know, it's like, is it a gift, or is it just, you know, just who I am?
That's how more and more of my power are integrated.
All right. So anybody got any other questions? Yeah, Deborah said, I understand that. Thanks. I'll keep asking.
They're afraid of us now.
I know, right? I'm afraid of us now. I was like, I'm not sure. So 1 second. I'm just.
By the way, what amazing symbols that you got with that. That's beautiful energy.
Exactly. Really golden key and a lion. So we're already interfering with it, because I know what a golden key and a lion means, and Kimberly does too. And it's like,
yeah. So that's beautiful. Congratulations, girl! Yay!
I love
cheer you on. Yeah,
exactly. You'll get it. You'll figure it out. Keep asking. They will answer in some way. So again, it's always about being open to whatever answer shows up. Not the answer that you want, but whatever answer shows up. Okay, that's the key. Timelines. You mentioned briefly at the very beginning about timelines, or the time that we're in right now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. Well, what's going on with us energetic wise with the celestial bodies and how we're being supported. Okay, so planetary energy, you know, we're in Mercury retrograde right now. So anytime that Mercury is in retrograde, it is a wonderful time to go within. And so Mercury has been retrograde in Pisces. Mm-hmm. And so Pisces is that, you know, it's a great time to be using dream time, meditation time. It's that watery energy. Pisces also sometimes can represent the martyr within you energy. And so this is a wonderful time to go in to that inner reflection, to see where that is and how it wants to come up to, you know, to be expanded into the gift that it is. And so the Mercury's gonna step back in, like it's been in Pisces. It went from Aquarius to Pisces back to Aquarian energy. So Pisces energy also comes through the heart. And then the Aquarian energy is the mind. And so it can be the higher aspect of it and the crystal clear part of it. So I think it's today that it goes back into Aquarius energy. So we have that until it goes out of Mercury, I think on Monday, because we have the full moon on Monday too. Mm-hmm. So anyway, whenever these dates are, because I'm not remembering the exact number right now.
Yeah, I think it's March 9th is the full moon, because on March 8th is...
Yeah, that is the full moon.
Yeah.
And it's like when that energy dips back into the Aquarian energy, then whatever energy you may have felt bogged down and stuck in noticing, you know, the themes were coming back up again around whatever your woundedness was, and you may all of a sudden have this like crystal clear energy of, oh wow, this is the way to go. And I could have done that this whole time, and I didn't have to carry any of this other energy around at all. So that's the energy that we're in right now. You may have those sudden flashes of that. So it's great to utilize that energy right now. And so if you wake up with a sudden flash and then it's gone again, like write it down, know that your higher mind and your higher aspects are giving you clear direction during this time period. If you get it in a dream, some kind of aha, that is a direction out of some kind of energy that you have carried for a long time and maybe been bogged down into. There's 4 planets in Capricorn right now. And so that structure and so that it may give you like a clear path, a light, a gate with a golden key of direction, and then how you put it into your structure. So that's what we can be utilizing right now during this time period. So it's a good time to journal, to write, if there's something that's been a burden that you've carried for a long time, like to ask to be shown, where is that, where's that light? Where's that path of light that will step you into another direction?
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with that. And that moon, that's when the moon is a Virgo moon, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's a Virgo moon what are we in now? Are we in Pisces right now? So it's going to be that grounded energy too, and then the expansion of that, and then what seeds that we're taking out. Oh, there's another thing that's coming up in March. Saturn is going into Aquarius. I think it's March 24th. It's toward the end of the month, around the spring, around the equinox energy. And so it'll already be, it'll be starting to come into that energy. That energy's not been there since. It was there from like 91 to 94. It hasn't been there since then. So if you reflect back in your life and whatever energies that that you were starting with or what you were doing there, so that is that higher mind, that sudden flash of energy, and then the Saturn is that container, of structure. So those two are aligning during that time period. So, and it's only for like 2 months. So that it's like that energy is going to be there for us. So all of this that we're doing now, any kind of clearing that you're doing between now and then, there's a cradle there to ground that in. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions for that?
It's too much for my mind. All that
Okay.
moon stuff, planet
I know.
stuff.
It's like I got a little bit too technical, but it's more about how to utilize it and how it's going to nurture you.
Yeah. So all I'm hearing is like it's a good time coming.
Yeah, and today we're actually in Cancer moon, and so we want to be nurtured. So honestly, we don't want heady stuff. Like it's we're in that. We're in that in the Mercury retrograde. So it's like, I don't want information today. I just really want to be loved and nurtured.
Exactly.
So that's the energy that we're in.
So we want the energy of compassion for ourselves, for humanity, everybody else as well, but also mostly for ourselves. We need it for ourselves in order to flourish, in order to thrive, in order to create, right?
Yes.
Lisa says, I feel the good things coming and feel it's here already. Awesome.
Yeah.
And let's amplify that, magnify that for everybody.
Yeah. Are we ready to do activations? Should we talk about the package first and then do which way you want to do this?
Yeah, let's talk about the package first and then we'll do the activation. So for those of you who are on the live page, you can just click on special offer. Those of you who are not, you can go to alara.at/show/Kimberly3. And there's two packages, package A and package B. So I'm going to let you talk about it in a second. But package A is 3 live group calls and access to the private membership group, as well as a few other little things. And then package B is all of that plus 12 days of transmissions and a 30-minute one-on-one session with Kimberly, which, you know, is quite profound, is transformational is the word I was looking for. So, all right, go ahead, Kimberly. So the package A, like I said, it includes the 3 live group calls, the 2 months, I think, access to the private membership group, as well as 25% savings on any session during that time.
During that 2 months time period. Yeah, while they're in that, during that, if they did a session with me.
Exactly.
So that's what you get is the three group calls. So I do that on Zoom. It's like this. So lots of times I get whatever's happening into humanity, and then we work on that. We'll probably still be working on the compassionate energy quite a bit. You know, I don't know, the flavors change all the time. So I check into it and we talk and we see what's going on. And then I'll do a transmission like we're going to be doing today. So that's what happens on those calls. They're recorded, so you'll have access to them if you miss it for some reason. Mm-hmm. And then so for 2 months you're in that membership, which is actually a private Facebook group that I go live on all the time. And so you have access to me for 2 months that you can ask me anything you want to. And it's like, all you have to do is write it in and I'll answer. And then I'm always popping on there and talking about the energies, what's happening on Earth. You know, if I get some big aha that day, or heads up, and how you can be utilizing the energies for yourself right now. And so that's what happens on that. Mm-hmm. And I'll do transmissions when I just pop in. Like I did one yesterday on there. I always try to do Tuesday. Yesterday it was Wacky Wednesday. You know, some days it's like spirit just like moves us to another day. So that's what happens in that. And then in the package B, you get that. And then I'm going to do 12 days of transmissions. And so when I do 12 days of transmissions, I'll do that during the equinox. Somewhere in that time frame, it'll be done during that time period. So what happens with that is, see where that big amethyst is back there and all those crystals around it? There's a big grid that's set up, and it changes all the time. So your name will be put on that grid with the energies, and then every day for 12 days, I connect to the energy to my team that works with me that calls themselves the greater aspect. And they're the greater, they come from like God source energy. And I connect to that and do light language transmissions into the group. And so that energy is to just be sent to you for you to utilize in whatever it is that it does. You don't I just send those. I mean, sometimes I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they tell me to do the transmission. It's never the same time, you know, it's like, and so then for that whole 12 days, I'll go on Facebook and tell everybody what happened. You know, what was the energies, what's coming in. And so I'll be live 12 days during that. I'm there all the time, but I will be active every day telling you what the energies were that were coming in.
Right.
Okay. So I'm not recording the transmissions as I do them. Sometimes I'm explaining this because sometimes people are confused and they're like, I missed the transmission. Where was it? Me sitting there trying to record all of that and doing this.
Yeah.
Tell them, Laura, it's sometimes all of that can be like impossible, and it'd be like watching paint dry. Most of the time I got my eyes closed.
Yeah, they're remote transmissions, so they're done remotely.
They're done remotely. So that's what happens in that. And then there's a session with me too.
Yeah.
And also during that time period, if you do other sessions in that 2-month time period that you're in membership, you get, because that's one of the perks in my membership is they get 25% off with me when they're in membership. And I realized I had never actually put that on the thing. You know, it's like, oh, well, they need to know this.
Yeah. That was brand new this time.
That's one of the perks that happens during membership. All my other members get it, so they get it too.
Exactly. Awesome. And so in the 30-minute personal session with you, what can they bring up, or what can they expect?
It's going to be different for everybody because it's always different, you know, wherever it is that they're at. So what I do is connect in and see what's the highest good for them. And if they have a specific issue, like if it's a health issue or something that has been going on and on and on and on, and they want to clear it, then we can look straight at it and try and just go to it to see what is holding, you know, what's holding that in place for them. Because when I do a session, I see multidimensionally, so it's like walking in Best Buy and all the televisions are going at the same time, and they may think, oh, it's about this relationship, and I see the 4-year-old, like with who was it, Jennifer
Yeah.
earlier?
Jennifer.
Yeah. So I have the ability to go straight to that, and when we go to that, then all of those other things collapse. Because if I went to what happened yesterday with the neighbor, and you think that that's what the issue is, and it's like, no, you're really carrying this since you're 4-year-old, and that's why you keep going through these things. So that's what happens. Or we just turn it over and they don't have a specific thing that they're asking for, and we just allow spirit to bring them whatever. And that's what happens anyway. It's their mind that thinks that they're in control of the healing.
Yeah, exactly. It's always whatever spirit, you know, it brings up anyways, right? That's for your highest and best good. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Good. Awesome.
So
good.
that's
Thank
what
you.
happens. Yeah.
All right. So those 2 packages are available at alara.at/show/Kimberly3. So please do take a look at those. And if you've never worked with Kimberly before, this is a great opportunity for you to do that. So definitely check it out. All right. So now we're going to do the activation.
Okay. We ready?
We are. Awesome.
Okay. So everybody just breathe in. So use your breath to come into your own essence. So with each breath you take, the more you come into your own being. So we're going to breathe in. I'm hearing breathe in love. And breathe out peace. Breathe in compassion. And breathe out love. Breathe in peace. And breathe out compassion. So just do a few breaths on your own to come into your essence. Leave all of the chitter chat talk outside. So the first thing that we're going to do, and you all can just receive this energy and set your intention of whatever that is here to be cleared, things that you've been carrying for eons of time that's no longer yours, that has blocked you from standing in your compassionate one and standing in your own sovereignty with this energy to the truth of who you really are. So we're going to ask to disconnect from all of the mind matrices of humanity's chaotic mind. We cord into that because there's a belief that something outside of us has the answer. So bring your psychic cords back from all of that energy, from that mind that believes that has to connect to the wouldas and couldas and shouldas, into your own third eye. And for this moment, ask to disconnect from your own personal mind construct that you created in this lifetime to be able to survive. Sometimes you'll feel that energy come back into your heart. It's like the ego self that's out there in front of you, trying to get the answers to know which direction to go. All of that's within you. So from this place, we're going to drop into our sacred chamber. Sometimes the easiest way to go into it is through the back between your shoulder blades into that high heart. There's a gate. So just pay attention to this as you walk through it. What symbols are there for you? It may be a feeling, you may be seeing, you may just be knowing, and you may not feel anything, and that's all okay. Just know this is where you're entering, and feel the sacredness of that energy and what that's like to connect to that. So when you enter into this sacred chamber, there's connection. Within this chamber is where your divine master self, your inner awakened self lives. It always has been. It's always been there waiting for you, to support you. And all your inner alchemy team is here within that space. So feel that connection to that. And from here, we're going to drop a cord down through our central column, all the way down into the heart of Gaia, the heart of Earth. Gaia holds your Earth records, what this lifetime is about, and the path that you came to walk with her. So feel that connection, and the knowing and feeling and understanding of what that's like to be supported by her, and the love that she has for you. That anchors you in. So breathe that in, and then your awareness back into that high heart space. So you can ask the inner question yourself of what energies are there that distort this compassionate one from embodying it, and just see what comes to you. If there's any knowings or understandings that come, any words that come from that. And so I'm being told to clear out any other energies besides your own that are within this space, because this is your sacred chamber. And if there's any outside influences like family members, your loved ones, your children, your dog, anyone that's within that, ask them to step outside. They can stand outside of your circle and be support to you. But to be on the inside of that, you're giving your energy to them. So if you see any faces of anyone or any feeling of that energy, just thank them and let them know that this is your space. Okay, let's see what we do from here. So be in that energy of that. Okay, so I'm being told to download the knowing and feeling and the truth of compassion, the creator's definition of this, and the truth of this energy, the purity of it, its highest form, into every cell of your body. You may see it in a color or a symbol. Nesete korona shate nukote nalo korea sata karine hitora Nashata kiri no kore setera. Me quiero shatora shetkori setekere nakaria. E shetekere no sotukori shetekari. In nakari setekari tara. So breathe that in and allow that energy to flow through your system, through your physical body, your emotional body, and your mental body. Clearing any traumas that have been associated with the belief of when I was compassionate, this happened. All of those stories, clear those out, clean slate. Like I'm seeing that energy being like, it looks like there's a container. So if you want to create a container for that energy to go into, it's outside of your field. For all those stories to go into that energy. All the times that you were hurt, betrayed, used, misunderstood, not accepted. Not good enough. The energy is going out into all timelines and all parallels of any distortion that this distorted compassionate energy came through from your family, from your DNA, from your soul level. You send out the clearing of that and any of those traumas and distorted frequencies that came into this body in this lifehood, connected to that word. Nashata kore sata kere na kariya tera na kore shata kare na sata kariya tera na sata kariya tera na shata e kere na tu sata kariya tara. Okay, I'm literally seeing a implant within the third eye in the discernment, and it feels like that this was one that was taken on by humanity, that at whatever time that it happened and why ever, we're not going to get into the story of that, but that we're going to remove this today and for this to be dissolved, sent back to the access point where it came from, and for that access point to be closed. Some way it kept humanity in this slavery. It's connected to that servitude energy that we spoke of earlier. Nisita kore shata kare nakiri tora nasata kare yetera nasata kare yetora e shata kare nasata kare yetara nasata kare shata kare. So there's some energy at the throat that it looks almost like a collar, a filter that's being removed. That's going back into earth where it can be dissolved. It's like earth is taking that in. It blocked us from speaking truth and light. All the times that we stood in that sovereign self and in the place of that and were harmed, and the traumas that went with that from this lifetime and all the other lifetimes too. All that energy is going to go into that container, into this healing container. Like the trash bin. Okay, so breathe that in. So we're being realigned. So there's an infinity symbol at your feet, and we're going to activate that, and that's Gaia's support. And then one at your knees, and it's how to walk forth with this energy, and then one at your hips up with the truth of what survival is. And they're telling me to activate that, to have this sacred container and this stability to bring in this frequencies, this higher aspect of the truth of compassion. And the soul point is at your sternum, your breastplate, and that's being recalibrated too. Okay, so invoke your compassionate one into your field, into your embodiment, and feel what that feels like, the connection to that. That it's safe to be that, to trust it, to embody it, to know the energy. So there's like an opening that's happening within that sacred chamber where your inner awakened self is, and your whole alchemy committee that's within inside of you. So there's a place for the compassionate one to take its seat in this rightful committee, in its place of your sovereignty within your own being. So it's like honoring it, a homecoming, as it honors you. So feel that connection to that. There's like an allowance that's happening. I'm witnessing like all of the little inner children, all of the wounded children running to the compassionate one as it embraces the children, wraps its loving arms around this. It's like you're safe, you're home. Safe to feel the compassion. So honoring energy, how to honor self in this energy, what it's like to embody the honoring of this through your own significance and the power of that. So if you have any places in your body that you've had discomfort or any kind of processes going on, you can send that energy into that. I'm seeing a lot of depleted adrenals. And it's like being in this energy of fear and living out of survival, scarcity, survival, no security. So we're going to ask for that energy, that compassionate light of self to self-heal, that you're this self-healing apparatus. And that this energy of support and what it's like to be supported in the embodiment of the compassionate one, and that it's safe to stand in your sovereign self in your own power of this. to be the anchor of these codes of your own wealth consciousness and the truth of what that really is. Every cell of your body. So I'm seeing the root chakra open and the energy going into the root and anchoring in. And then it's coming up, and then the sacral is opening. And so any distortions within the sacral energies in that energy signature, it has to do with the relationships, for that to be cleared. And now into the solar plexus, the compassionate one feels that in. It like there's a expansion within the solar plexus. And then back to the heart. And the heart opens and expands into this frequency, clearing any woundedness from all of those times of believing that you were giving your love and it wasn't received or taken advantage of. And then the throat's opening, the third eye, the high heart, the high throat too. There's a point there. And then your crown chakra, and it looks like the whole light body is opening to expand, to connect to this energy as it drops into your system. Breathe that in. Feel what that feels like to be connected to that energy. The knowing and feeling and understanding of what it's like to trust this energy. And the truth of that. I'm hearing it's safe to be the one. So there's this spiral that's making like a cocoon to hold this frequency and to protect it as you're integrating. So it's like the caterpillar when it goes into the cocoon and all its magical cells activate, it goes into slush and mush, and then it all activates. And when it comes out of the cocoon, it's this being that has wings that flies, and there's nothing about it was the same as when it went in. So it's like that kind of transformation. So feel that energy and what that's like to embody that and to spread your wings. It's like I'm hearing to download courage, the the courage to be this frequency, to know this frequency, and to hold this frequency. So breathe that in. And we're going to bring all of that down and anchor that back into earth and the energy back up through our bodies, all the way out to our transpersonal chakra, our higher self, and calibrate. We're going to calibrate into this frequency and these encodements that are here now for us, and what it's like to calibrate to that frequency, to be able to carry that frequency, to hold that frequency. So do a breath, and like the breath comes up through your body like a tour, all the way up. That microcosmic breathing, like your torus, you're activating it, and it comes through you and around you. And so when you're ready, come back into this time we call now, embodying this energy into your system. And while you are coming back, if you have a bottle of water or a container of water, it doesn't have to be a bottle. If you don't have one, that's okay. Just set your intention. And I'm going to send the frequencies into the water, and then you'll have this to utilize. You can drink it. You can use it like a homeopathy. You can put it in your bath water. You can throw it in a lake, flush it down your commode for compassion codes to go out to everybody. Okay, so I'm going to send that into a container of water for you that you can use in however way to support yourself with this. Nesitena na korea tana na sata kariatura shatera na kariatera sutu korea kana na sata karia ona sata kire shikiritura na sata kara.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow. I'm slowly coming back. How's everybody doing? Take a few deep breaths. Oh, that was a lot.
It was a lot. That was I hadn't seen the implant till today. And it's funny because the first time I did that activation, that week following that, everybody I worked on, there was some kind of implant that was going on between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And it's like sometimes you have that happen. It's like it's the flavor of the week. Somebody comes in for a healing and then everybody has the same thing. And so that happened. And I didn't connect it all, but today I see what that is, and that would make sense because the compassionate one is the blending of the divine feminine and the divine masculine energy. I kept feeling that in the head, and it was like I was down here in the heart, and I'm like, why does this keep pulling me up here? And then I saw it. The implant for me today, when I saw it, it was like a big glowing, kind of orangey glowing amber. It was like fire, but not holy fire.
Yeah.
It was like, this doesn't need to be here anymore.
Awesome.
Did you feel it leave?
Did I feel it leave? I don't know now.
You don't know. There's too much happened now.
There was a lot that was happening. Exactly. It's like, I can't remember, but I remember feeling it. I remember when it was leaving, I was feeling all this tingling all over, I remember feeling a tingling at one point. I'm cold now. So Destiny says, that was lovely. Diane says, amazing. So definitely drink some water, whether it's the water that Kimberly just charged up or something else, but definitely drink. Take a few deep breaths. And so what would you suggest now for people to work with their compassionate one?
If they journal, if they meditate, if they don't, they need to be.
Mhm.
And when to connect with it, just like you would like an old friend that you've not seen forever and they've came to visit and you're so excited that they're there. It's like that, and connect to it. I was doing it like every morning as soon as I woke up before I got out of bed. I would just wake up and lay that, ask connect to my compassionate one. And every time I did it, that it lit up right here at my high heart. And then I would just be in that bliss.
It's not.
Go ahead.
I would just be in this bliss energy. And then I didn't want to come out of that. And I don't even know how long that, it could have only been a second, but when you're in that energy, you have no idea, it was like that kind of all-time expansion energy. And so that's what was happening with me. And then it felt like I moved into, like I could tell it was embodying in a different, it was embodying different, but it was that make the connection every day. It's like,
exactly.
Because I think lots of times we do this stuff and then we just go on, and then we're like, well, what's the next thing? Or why did that not work? But we
Connecting
have
with it.
Keep the connection.
You have to engage with it,
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word I was looking for, was the engagement of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's always there for us. They used to show that to me, like, this was back when we still have VCRs, and it's like we're the one that puts it on pause.
Mm-hmm.
Because we went off in the mind and went and did our energies all over the place of our doings. And the truth is, if we connect to that first thing and we're in that energy, then it's going to change how the day goes. If you get the answers from there, then you'll have a clarity, and that's that energy of grace. Then you'll follow that path of grace.
Yeah, beautiful. Well said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's how I would connect. That's what I did with it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And that's the thing. We do need to engage with it. We need to have a relationship with it. We need to interact with it in order to make it, like, fully embody it. It's
right. And I would ask it. It's like, okay, how can what do I do with you now? It's like, oh, I got this puppy. What do I do with you now? And then it was like, you can use me for all kinds of things. And then the healing energy, and then how to take it through the body, and to send the energy into anything that was in discomfort or whatever.
Yeah, distorted.
Yeah.
That
energy set. That was really this group too, that I felt that so strong in the adrenals. It was like, wham, it just went straight to it. And then it was like, okay, take that energy into that. And it was like, it felt like that part that was just so exhausted from always running ahead and always giving and giving and giving, that it was depleted.
Absolutely. So Lisa says, I feel this is a part of how we be. It becomes a part of daily life. It comes out in how we interact with life.
Exactly. Yeah. The first day that mine activated. So I did a challenge in my group for them all to go do random acts of kindness and to then put it on the thing of what they did. And so I was like, I ran out the door and I stopped at the Humane Society and brought a cat home. And I already have a cat. Well, my cat's, I don't think her compassionate codes got activated, and she wasn't real too happy about what I went and did.
Right. You didn't ask her first.
She told me no. I didn't listen.
She
told me no several times, but when I was in so much love, I was just in this, and it was like and every store I went in, it was really interesting. People were like just like coming up to me and asking me directions, or where something was. We have Amish here. There was an Amish girl in her whole Amish, attire. And she walked up to me and went, could you help me? And then I helped her, and I was going and getting a basket for her and carrying, and and then I got the cash register, and some lady didn't have enough money, and I paid her stuff for her. And then I stopped at the Humane Society and brought a cat home.
You were interacting
Can
with
have
life,
that
and
effect
life
on
was
you.
interacting back with you, right?
It
Yeah.
was, and I was in so much joy and flow, and it was so amazing. It was just like it was so much beauty.
Mhm.
And then I took Pat back after a week and sponsored him. I stayed in compassion. I sponsored him, and that just kept working with I was working with the two of them on their compassionate codes, and Alice wasn't having any of it.
You can't force it on anybody, right? Or
He's
any
been
cat.
so loving and compassionate. So, and I don't know if I would go to the Humane Society today if I were you all.
Yeah, integrate a little bit, and then see. Yeah, exactly.
You can bring all kinds of things into your life.
I love it. All right, is there anything else you wanted to share with us today? Any other last message that's coming through for us? Whether it's about compassion or something else?
Let me see if the group itself, if there's anything within it. No, just that be it. And when we do that and we walk in that, then it does change everything in our life. You know, things start to change, and we're going to see the changes. And I know that sounds like a broken record sometimes, but you know, there is a shift that's happening, and there are changes that's happening with things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Honor yourself first. And ask that compassionate one to connect with you, and to just keep putting the energy into yourselves, to how to be compassionate for yourself. So when you're journaling that's one of the things, or in meditation, however you do it, that you can ask, what's the most compassionate thing for me today?
Mm-hmm.
Something else that totally changed for me was I was already I'd already this year did a sugar cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a week and a half now, I've actually been a breatharian. I've not ate any food for over a week and a half.
Oh,
It's
wow.
been 12, yeah. And so I'm going through some kind of, and I'm not hungry. I'm doing water and teas, and I'm going through some kind of total cellular cleansing on all levels, because I know that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so there, you know. It's like I'm going to be a lot being. It's like I know that that's happening to like embody all of my life.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I started doing the sugar as well, like letting go more of the sugar, letting go more of the carbs. It's just like really watching what I'm eating right now, you know, and bringing in more fruits and vegetables and salads, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like we're all going through a change. Because we need to be lighter, you know. Our bodies are so dense and our cells are so dense, and if we want to hold more light, we need to be lighter. Lisa says I just started intermittent fasting. You know what?
That's
I
what
just
I started.
realized that Neo is doing intermittent fasting. He doesn't know it, but I didn't realize I put because he gets food like for 8 hours, and then 16 hours he doesn't get any food. It's like, oh, he's doing intermittent
Well, that's
fasting.
right. You think about that. Animals do that all the time. That's exactly what they do, especially like when people are working, you go home and they do that. But that's what I started with, was the intermittent fasting. Yeah. And then I ate something that I think threw me into a migraine. And it was just showing me that, you know, you can't do this. And I had a migraine. It'll be 2 weeks this Saturday. So I didn't eat Saturday and Sunday because of that. And then by Monday, it's just the thought of putting food in my mouth and chewing it up and using that energy for that.
So if anybody is thinking of it, please do your research, do your homework.
I'm not telling you all to do that.
Yeah,
I didn't set my intention to do this. It's just happening for me. And so today I did do with like a cucumber juice, you know, and it's like to start your system back with stuff. But I don't know what, you know, I'm just telling you all my experience of what's happening with me with this.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
it's about watching what is happening and follow your knowing, you know, like trust your knowing, follow your knowing. If you get the hit that's like, you know, maybe I don't want to eat so much sugar. Awesome.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
if you get a hit of, you know what, I really think my body needs some protein. How can I get some protein? Go get it. Like, listen to your body, listen to your knowing.
Right. And that's what I'm doing. I know that this, because I was already doing that before this happened, and I was asking, you know, everything for my body and listening to it and partnering with it of how to be the most compassionate for it. And then it's like, okay, now we're doing this detox and I'm just trusting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I know it'll be done when it's done. And if not, that's okay too.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't have to be a permanent thing. It might just be for a temporary thing, you know, but always, you know, trust your knowing. Don't force anything, but just see what happens, you know, and play with it, you know, kind of play with it, but also like stick to it a little bit. Don't just automatically go with, oh, well, my mind is saying I need this. Well, do you really? What does your body require? Ask your body, what do you want? What do you
Right.
require? You know, don't
And
just go with your mind, because your mind is just going to bring up old cravings, you know?
All kinds of stuff. And that's why it's like, until you know, we were talking about it, then I realized, oh, wow, that's happened since then. You know,
Yeah.
and then you start realizing these are the changes that's happened in me since in that time period.
Exactly. So start watching and start seeing, you know, and just observe, be an observer and play. There's no force, right? Just play with it and see what happens. I mean, I was at the park today with Neo, and we sat down for a few minutes. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to just send unconditional love, blessings, light, and compassion to everybody here in the park.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just sat there and I did that for a few minutes, you know, and then whoever wants to receive it can, and whoever doesn't, they don't have to.
Right. That's those random acts of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, that's the way I was. I was like, oh, yeah. And it just happens wherever you're at.
So, you know, just see, and it's not like I planned to do it. No, it's like I was just sitting there enjoying the sun like I do for a few minutes, and it's like, oh, you know what? I think I'm just gonna do this, and I did it. You know, so
right. Yeah, and whoever comes to that park bench and sits down, it's there for them. They're like, wow, this vibration.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We're exchanging vibrations that way. We came here to be the full tapestry. And
yeah.
So, you know, that it can be in just that way. You know, sometimes it's like on one of these shows, that was it. That was the thing that took us into the next, you know, jump, the quantum jump of whatever it is. Maybe it's just in that moment they sit on that park bench and they feel this whole container of all that unconditional love, and they've not ever felt that before.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
right.
So we don't know how we're impacting the rest of, you know, people around us. We don't know, and it doesn't really matter. You do what's right for you.
That's what I was going to say. When you're in that place of that and you feel it, then it just is.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking about how are they going to react, or what are they. I wasn't thinking anything. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to do this. That was it.
Yeah, that's that compassionate one tapping you on the shoulder, going.
Yeah, exactly. So Destiny says, I do that when driving on the highway, sending love to all on the road at that moment and seeing it all in golden light, lighting the path. Awesome. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I do that with, like, you know, like if you get in a traffic jam or accident, you know, that there's an accident ahead, instead of being in that, oh no, you know, then it's like, oh, wait a minute. There could be people hurt up there, and the, you know, the firemen, the ambulance workers, just send that energy to everybody that it, you know, that it spreads. And I've done that where opened up the gate and it's like I went right through, and then everybody else is still in the traffic jam.
Exactly. So, but that's not why you did it. It's just, that was just a consequence of that.
Result of it.
You know,
and you notice, you know, oh wow, there was this happened afterwards.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So, you know, pay attention now that, you know, we've activated those compassion codes. We've invoked the compassionate one. Start, you know, going into your higher heart, the sacred heart, and connecting with your compassionate one, and start to express that compassion. You can ask, how can I express more compassion today? Right? And just start doing it, and then just start seeing how your life starts to change and transform. Not that, you're not looking for it to, but just see what does change and transform. Okay.
Yeah. How can I be compassionate to myself today?
Yes. Yeah. And Connie says eventually that will just happen no matter where you are. You will just be sending out automatically. Absolutely. That's who you be, and you just automatically radiate that out. It's natural, right?
Right.
Yeah. Destiny says, I feel my compassionate one. She is in love right now for all. Nice.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you, Destiny. Randy says, wow, thank you for these deeply sensational experiences. Awesome. Good. All right, everyone. So please do take a look at the special offers that Kimberly has for us. Like I said, they are slightly different than before. So package A and package B, and don't forget that, package A and package B, when you are in the membership, you also get that 25% savings on sessions with Kimberly during that time period. Okay. So because that was never stated before, but it was always available. But that was never stated.
I never stated, and I thought people aren't taking advantage of it
because we didn't know. All right, so those packages are available at alara.at/show/Kimberly3. All right, so today's Thursday, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kimberly, so much. Beautiful activation and processes. Oh my goodness! So I'm so excited to really, embody more of that compassion and express that in the world for myself and humanity, and we'll see how that shows up. So thank you. Such a gift and blessing.
Thank you for doing all that you do, and that holding this container so that people can receive and that we can all connect in the way that we do.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Bye.